Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace. And before we get to today's episode, I get to tell you about our great friends over at Streetside Brewery. Because look, after a tough loss, you might just need a drink, a place to chill out, a place to cool down, a place to kick back, listen to some excellent live music, maybe try out a new, Asian domino tile card game. I gotta be honest, I don't know much, but I know they got games going on at 6 o'clock on Mondays. And that's where Streetside comes in. Okay. This is where I go to find my happy place. And I am here to tell you about it, partially because they pay me, partially because I think you should just know about it anyway. I probably just tell you about it anyway. Streetside Brewery, fantastic people, fantastic beer. Always great food. Always a great environment. What more is there to say? Go check them out if you haven't already. And if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's time to go back. Okay. Thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode. Thank you for checking them out. And on today's episode, look, I don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. But we got to do this. Okay. We're going to get through this. Me and you and Chief and Grayson. We're going to get through this. Okay. FC Cincinnati takes one on the chin in Columbus, 2-1. It's a tough loss. It's a bad loss. It's not what you want coming off of a thrilling 4-3 victory over the Vancouver Whitecaps. Remember those heady days of a couple dozen hours ago? Look, this is a tough loss. You never like losing to your rivals. You never like losing, period. Okay. But I think we worked through some things. We don't have solutions. We just worked through some things. Zapruder film, not really. The end of the game, okay? There's some lively conversations in this one, and it gets a little spicy, okay? I'm not going to lie. We wrap it all up with Patreon questions. And look, all the questions we answered today are not really about soccer. There's one that's like kind of about soccer. It's about soccer books. Okay. Don't get too excited. So if you just need to get away from soccer for a moment, we got you covered. Okay. That's in part 2. Part 1, it's all hell is real all the time. We wallow in it a little bit. Okay. But I think overall, you got yourselves a pretty good episode of the Cincy Postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by 2 gentlemen who are not prepared to hear the fun fact I have prepared for them. I'm joined by the Chief. I'm joined by Grayson. Right before recording, gentlemen, I was hit with a funny realization. A 24-year-old operating in our world, full legal adult, somebody might even have a couple of years experience in the workplace under their belt, would have been 14 years old when Game of Thrones went off the air, which means if they were raised in a responsible household, have never seen the television show, not for a minute. How are we feeling tonight?
Old.
Yeah.
But also, that's sort of my resting state these days, is just feeling like the world is slowly passing me by. It's in the true spirit of being an old man, you wake up and, you wake up a little earlier than you used to do on Sunday morning. Remember, Sunday used to be a day where maybe you're nursing it from the night before, maybe you move it a little slowly. I found myself awake earlier than I planned to be this morning, and my wife was watching CBS Sunday Morning, where it's like this news magazine show like made exclusively for old people. Yeah. And I was like, this is a pleasant way to start my morning. Like, there's this very pretentious trumpet music that plays. It actually made me think that if I had a lot of money, I would want to fund a MLS Sunday morning that is exactly the same way as this.
It's like high prestige.
High prestige, just, discussing, today on MLS Sunday morning, we meet with Jim, who's a drummer for Timber's Army. Jim, when you bang the drum, do you feel that you put some of your soul into every one of these performances? It's like later on, we'll be joined by correspondent Taylor Twellman. Taylor will have a sit-down conversation in depth with the caterer who makes magic for the pans in the Tunnel Club of FC Cincinnati.
Chief, I just got a brilliant idea for the inevitable MLS cable channel that we launch, which is a Maury or Jerry Springer style show, but exclusively for supporter drama.
I'm into that.
I think we can be some fun here.
Come on, it goes right into Face the Nation, where it's just like we're just grilling a general manager on their roster allocation. I can think of one candidate who I would like to have on right now.
Grayson, if you were hosting a Sunday morning talk show, Sunday morning magazine, as it were, if Chris Albright had to face the FCC Nation, as it were, what are some questions you'd ask?
I think we've asked the questions.
Repeatedly.
What was the reasoning behind picking up options on both Teenage Hadabi and Matt Miazga? Do you feel like you've gotten value out of the designated player spot on Miles Robinson? Given Obina Nwobodo's injury history, what, if anything, have you done to look for a replacement with like his specific skill set in the midfield? What conversations, if any, have there been about switching to a 4-person midfield? Do you think that another body in the midfield might make the team a little harder to play against and take some pressure off the defense? Have you been scouting for a particular formation, for a particular profile? Understanding that 3 men at the back with 2 wing backs was a choice by necessity in 2022 that was made with an inherited roster in mind to maximize the suitability with those players. And it wasn't necessary. It wasn't the formation that you intended, assuming that's true. All the evidence says that that's true. It wasn't the formation that you intended to play when you joined the team. Have you been recruiting to maintain that formation, or have you been recruiting to think for an ultimate switch to your preferred formation? Why or why not? Either way, do you feel like you've been constructing a roster to play a particular style to make the roster your own? Or do you feel that because I'm going to feed the answer a little bit, maybe because you were a little closer to competing first season than you anticipated, have you instead been trying to kind of patch the leaky ship to avoid a significant drop off while maintaining some continuity there in the intervening years? Another question is
how dare you?
Is this did you come into this season with the sense that because of expiring contracts, it would present, and the schedule switch and the sprint season and potentially new roster rules, that the opportunity to present to remake the roster more significantly was about to present itself? And so you retained a bunch of players to try to keep a high floor to avoid too much of a drop off. with kind of the understanding that you weren't in a position to really compete meaningfully for trophies this season and maybe in the sprint season. And you just wanted to buy a little bit of time between now and then because the problems that had prevented you from, competing meaningfully for trophies the last couple of seasons were not some that you felt you could fix in like a window or two windows with this roster.
I think that makes sense.
Interesting. I think it'd be interesting to find out if he anticipated that teenage Shadabi right now. This fun fact comes to us from Travis Grimes, former guest friend of the podcast. Did you anticipate that teenage Shadabi would be earning at this rate $2,244 per minute of soccer that he plays? Because he is making $1.23 million in guaranteed comp and has played a grand total of 274 minutes for the FC this year.
Follow question. If you didn't anticipate that, what about his play and the usage last season made you think along the lines you were thinking?
Yeah. Obviously not specific to this season. I would be curious to get Albright's opinion and maybe more philosophy on a team in a championship window. I get you want to maintain that as much as possible. What happens when a team is leaving the championship window? How do you facilitate leaving the window? And how do you accelerate the incoming of a new championship window? Is it retain as many of the good pieces as possible? Is it take it down to the studs and see what of the 22-year-olds and younger look good and then build up from there? Is it signing new DPs and building around that? I would be curious to know what a rebuild looks like in his mind, or how he imagines a rebuild. And then how close or how far away we are from that. Because maybe this is what a rebuild looks like for Chris Albright. Maybe we've got another season of taking this down to the studs.
I have posited before, and I think the first time I suggested this was when we found out that Miles Robinson was a designated player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think two things can be true. I think one thing can be true is that they've not gotten the value out of Robinson that they anticipated for a variety of reasons. But two was, I suggested that it was a signal that the championship window that they were previously in was closed. And this was a high floor move to maintain playoff position, maintain at least some level of competitiveness while they could. And part of that, probably had to do with Lucho forcing himself out when he did. Well, part of the championship window closing, not necessarily the Miles Robinson DP choice.
Yeah, but I mean, like the Miles Robinson being a DP though is like, okay, if you think the championship window is closing, why are you spending a ton of money to bring up Vander in
it's like
last year? It was a win now. It was like a win now move.
Well,
if there ever was one,
it was.
I don't know
if it's the gentleman's agreement that he signed on, the max TAM deal and became a DP later. You extended your window by 1 year in your mind by getting a DP for not a DP. And that's where you look at, all right, we'll bring in Evander, we'll bring in Brenner, we'll see if we can't put this together for one season. And then when the DP thing kicks in, it looks a little different.
I mean, certainly the Kevin Denke signing was a signing made with the belief that Lucho was coming back and they were still within a championship window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Now, with Lucho forcing himself out, I guess you could talk yourself into taking a flyer on Evander, given he was a player who had produced in the league. It would seem, we said this at the time, not like for like, but maybe it works out. But I think a lot of people
for archetype, maybe.
It was also a lot of people, $10 million though. They paid a lot of money for Evander.
They did pay a lot of money for Evander. But you know, they could have, if they'd taken the, I guess, 10 million they paid for Evander and tacked a portion of it onto their bid for a striker in the summer window of 2024. It's possible Lucio's not forcing himself out in 2025.
Guess it depends on which striker, right? If it's Josh Sargent, I don't know that changes all that much. But Berterame, maybe it changes a little bit.
There's also a thought that in that alternate timeline that we're putting out here, it's not like Lucho's been good since he left here, and so there's at least some idea that his little temper tantrum may have done the team a favor.
Well, maybe another 5 or so gets Dinke done in the summer.
A little earlier, yeah.
Because we know that they were kicking the tires on that, and just the valuation in the summer window wasn't where they were. But if you do get him in sooner, you know, they don't have a finishing problem.
No, you assume, but then you're also bringing him in mid-season, and we've seen how well the team is. But
that team was not bad at generating chances.
Yeah, they needed somebody to finish.
They were just not finishing anything.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also assuming that like it's not just the generating the chances. It's integrating Denke to know where he's supposed to be for the chances, how to play, where to go. We saw Joe Aquini come into this team, and he looked like a duckling with two left feet. Yeah, like just never in the right spot.
He looked like everywhere else he'd ever played, and except for St. Louis for half a season.
Right.
Like this was a guy, like Joe Aquini was a guy who was not good basically anywhere except for coinciding with the half season where St. Louis was wildly overperforming all of their numbers on every level.
Question. Where does Joe Aquini play now? Do either of you know?
Greece.
Yes, he does.
I don't know.
Asteras Tripolis is how I'm going to butcher that.
Good for him.
Never heard of him.
I'm always happy that people are still
people are working. Yeah, I'm happy people find employed in the game.
Worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I need to probably stop saying it because it's been said plenty of times, but the Miles DP contract, the Matt and teenage options getting picked up, this and the lack of anything else, given that this team's deficiencies were pretty well known.
Yeah.
Last season, because they're very, very similar to the team's deficiencies now.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Well, I mean, certainly the defense was bad last year. It was lucky.
Yeah, the defense was bad.
Defense is bad. Now the defense is bad, and it's
slightly unlucky.
Slightly unlucky. So, this feels like, and I really believe this, and I've said it before, and I think I've been yelled at for saying it, maybe not every time, but at least some of the times, that they are not intending, that they were not intending to compete this season, or at least go for competing this season. That they were like, these are the guys in the door. We can keep Matt and Teenage in, maybe they'll be okay, but if they're not, their contracts are expiring. We don't have to go out and like sign somebody to a longer term deal. We don't have to go pay a transfer fee for anybody. We don't have to worry about fitting, more different players under the budget. We can take a look at where the roster stands, and we can make decisions over the next, this is talking in like December, January, we can make the decisions over the next year and a half while we get ready for the schedule change. But if it was something along those lines, I want the general manager to like prepare us for that.
Yeah.
Instead of doing what he's done in the last couple of
that. You can't do that. You got
other teams general managers do it all the time. And I have enough goodwill. With this team that I do trust that they're
you get mad every time they jack ticket prices. Like you get
because they fucking lie to us about it.
You get irrationally angry every time it goes up $1. Because
it went up like 50% this year.
Yeah.
Because they lie to us about it. Like they're like, well, don't you want like these players? This is what like competing costs. And it's like, well, are you guys competing? I think they think they've competed at a higher level than they have the last 3 seasons. And there's only so much goodwill that you can coast on 2023 from until it's fair to be like, well, okay, but here's what you guys didn't do in 2023.
Right.
Okay.
I don't agree with that. I just don't.
No, I don't care.
Fair enough.
So I, like, this isn't the Reds, right? I have enough belief in the team and the ownership group that if they tell us like, look, we've got a decent roster, we still expect to make the playoffs, we still expect to, if things go well, make some runs, and we're going to keep trying to win, but we didn't get it done the last couple of years, and we want to make sure that we're making decisions for how to compete over the longest window and not rash decisions to try to get lucky or make up for lost opportunities in the immediate term. Like I think
this is the Reds. You're describing the Reds. The Reds say this shit all the time.
But I'm saying you clearly weren't listening because I said I have enough. Because I said it because I think the difference between this team and the Reds is that this team would have credibility saying something like that, and the Reds don't.
Right. Yeah, you never say that. The reason why the Reds
have a track record. Because they have a track record of not coming through.
Sure.
On the other end. But this is a team that like not too long ago set at the time, MLS transfer record.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now you're saying that after they did that, they weren't trying to compete is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying like, I think I specifically said, again, you're not listening to I have to assume you weren't listening because I know that you're not, because I know you're capable of understanding this. I said that the Denke signing was made with an idea that they were still in the championship window because Lucho was still in the team. Like they were making that signing at the time when Lucho was still in the team. And now circumstances changed and they're no longer in the championship window and they're not acting like they're in a championship window.
I'll continue the sort of argument of the position for Grayson here, which is that Denke and Evander certainly have a market value right now and will likely have a market value this winter. So I could totally see let's keep the floor high. Let's see where we have in a couple of these youngsters. Let's not tank the team. But then in December, we'll be done with Matt and teenage. Maybe we sell Denke, maybe we sell Evander. And, if we got one or two of these U22 guys to hit, maybe Sharilla's coming on board. Maybe we believe in Paul Walters coming online. Like, we can remake this team on the cheap, ready to go for the sprint season. And come the start of the 27-28 season, splash some cash when the transfer window aligns in the summer. And we will have built a foundation to drop in a hell of a team. I can see the argument for sure.
Yeah, but like the idea that like I want somebody to come out and say that this team is not really where we think it needs to be to win. These players are bums and they're not good enough to win. And we really want you, the ticket buying public, to come out and see this team, even though we think they're not good enough to compete. That's fucking nonsense. There's like if Albright came out and said that, I would rightly expect the ownership to fire him. You don't say that out loud. And the reason why you don't say that out loud is because when you say that out loud and then you don't follow up with immediately like that winning that you're looking for, then you turn into the Reds. The Reds' problem is they keep saying it out loud that they want to compete and they have no credibility. It's just better to remain silent in these situations and just let whatever happens go. But you're not gonna find a general manager that's like, yeah, no, sorry, we signed some guys that suck and we're done with our contracts. And, if you show up, you can buy a beer and have a good time, but we're not really expecting to see any winning soccer this year. Come on.
I got two counterexamples for you. One, a press conference that lives in my brain forever that I do not know why I was even listening to it. This was many, many years ago. Houston Astros general manager, after a big fire sale, basically had a heart-to-heart with the fan base and said, look, this is going to suck, and the next couple of years are going to suck. But at the end of it, I promise we are going to deliver a championship to this city. And he did it. Straight up called his shot and did it. The other one, and this is a very easy one, and it's very topical right now, trust the process. What did the process get us?
Yeah.
LeBron James in Philadelphia.
The ghost of LeBron James. The problem with that,
and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
And Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, contract value for Jaylen Brown's a little suspect. The problem with
they were already on the hook for Paul Pierce.
Yeah, the problem with that approach and why that approach, you can do this in baseball, you can do this in the NBA, you can even do this in the NFL. And the reason why is that there's TV money enough that if you tell your fan base you don't need to show up for 3 years, everybody's going to be mostly all right in terms of keeping the lights on in the building. In MLS, if you're not moving product, if they're not announcing 25,513 people in TQL Stadium, there's a direct problem for the bottom line with this team and with every other MLS team because they don't generate enough money off their TV contract. You have to keep the fans engaged and believing that every year is this year. The other thing, too, is it is not hard to see when you look around this league that when you lose fans in MLS, they tend not to come back, even when the team gets good. Like Chicago, New England, DC United. DC United's a great example. They built a brand spanking new stadium. Everybody shows up for it. Team's horse shit. Doesn't matter how good or how bad they are. Nobody shows up for that team anymore. Like, you can't go and just tell your fan base to check out in MLS because it is not a priority for people, especially casual fans, the way it is other sports that have been around for decades, or there's part of generational fandom that you grow up rooting for the team. That's a terrible strategy if you're trying to keep an MLS team going.
Yeah, a lot of that's beside the point because it's a pretty and I think again, because I think you're smart enough to understand things. So
spicy.
I assume this is done. I assume this is done intentionally. It's a gross distortion of what we were talking about. But the problem with the team isn't that, like, at least for the most part, from what I'm seeing, it's not that people doubt the commitment. It's that people doubt the competence of, like, and this is a couple years running, like spending a lot of money, not getting a lot of money's worth of results, certainly versus other teams that seem to be smarter, whether it's like being able to set up tactically and play in effective ways that kind of neutralize us, or finding players who are like good value for the transfer fee and salaries that they bring. And when the problem is commitment, you can always change the perception by going out and like showing the commitment by spending money. Yeah. Okay. When the perceived problem is competence, I do think you need to let people in on your thinking a little bit more. And while, fans don't know as much as Albright about soccer, about the market, about the players, about the roster, they have seen Teenage Adebe and Matt Miazga on the field for the last couple of years, a smaller portion of that in Miazga's case. And they have seen that, they signed Miles to a DP contract and were able to have seen him play. Certainly, a lot of fans watched the game last weekend, and there's like some obvious questions. And if there's like a really smart answer to why they picked up both Teenage Hadebe and Matt Miazga and made Miles a DP, and they're giving up 3 goals a game, like, tell the answer, right? Don't just dismiss people and assume that they're all stupider than you are, even though they are, for sure. Like, we are all dumber on this stuff than Chris Albright. But I think we're smart enough to like come to some like remedial answers. And if those answers are wrong, and they are low-hanging fruit, they're very obvious. You know, he's been given the opportunity a couple of times to like address some of these issues, and hasn't explained them in any detail or specificity, or a way that I think at least makes sense to me. People just fill in their own answers, right? And honestly, like, if there is no good answer, then that raises other questions. Like, should this person have this job? And I'm not calling for Chris Albright's job.
Sounds like you are.
No, but I am saying if there aren't,
I can listen too, and I'm listening here, and we're talking about competency problems.
Well, if that's the perception, if there aren't
that's your perception. So go ahead and say it with your chest.
If there aren't smart answers for while they've made these roster choices, and they're not just biding time until the schedule change to remake the roster, then this person should not have this job.
Right. And you think all these things. It's not year. If. You think all these things. So say it with your chest that you think he should be fired.
Well, I said if. So like, one, I'm leaving the door open that there are smart answers for why these decisions were made. Or two, I'm leaving the door open that he kind of knew these were bad moves, but he also knew that it probably wasn't worth it to take some swings this window because they weren't in a position to like really compete for trophies anyway.
Well, then if you think that's the case, then it's a gross miscalculation, because the offense on this team this past weekend notwithstanding, the offense on this team is really good. And so if you just had a competent defense, then this team probably is better off in the table than they were. The players that we're talking about right here, Miles Robinson and Matt Miazga, are very directly responsible for you losing this game on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Miles Robinson can't defend a set piece, concedes a goal. Matt Miazga commits one of the dumbest plays I think I've seen in recent memory for the FC on defense, and tackles a guy with a ball going out of bounds in a non-threatening position right before half, concedes a penalty kick off of a incredibly low percentage chance. These two players right here, directly responsible for the loss. And Teenage Hadebe, not available to be a better choice than a midfielder that you're playing at center back. So
unavailable.
So if you are saying that Chris Albright made the evaluation that it's not worth making changes right now because we're not in a position to compete, then a better defense probably has this team competing right now.
Yeah, I think the difference is you're making decisions.
Grayson, allow me to sort of distill your point, which is that it's a matter of expectations. If Chris Albright ran this roster out there and said to the public, this is an MLS Cup winning team, this is a team that can go to CONCACAF Champions League final, this is a team that should be in the hunt for every trophy, and we expect to walk away from this year with silverware. If that's the case, he should be fired. If his argument is, or if his stance is, hey, the options out in the open market aren't as good or are long-term riskier, especially given the league changes we're expecting, than what we have in-house. So these are lower risk. It may work, it may not, but we are setting ourselves up better for the future. We have stars on this team that are getting their feet wet, and come 27-28, we will be the best prepared team in the league. Get in on the ground floor now, learn Dado's name, learn Gidi's name. This is the team. Evander and Denke are guys we can build around for years and years and years. That's a different argument, and we'll be in fifth and we'll be competing for everything. I don't need a table position, but I can read between the lines. There's a difference between, I think this team is one of the best. Last year, what was the phrase? The most talented MLS team ever.
He wasn't saying that. Other people were saying that.
Albright said deepest.
Albright said
right,
deepest.
Other people were the ones that were saying it was one of the most talented teams.
Sure.
Albright said deepest, though.
Okay.
It's in the ballpark. So like I think it's a matter of what you're doing, right? Like a college football coach, I'll just bring it back to another sport. Like if the Kentucky football coach promises you like a bowl game every year, you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. If the Kentucky football coach promises you a national championship and is spending all of your NIL money and 3 years later you got nothing, you got to fire the guy. Like that's just the expectations of the program.
Another move you throw into the mix is the Jabari purchase option. But you know, when you're talking about making decisions in December and January, you are going off of a body of data, and the body of data with this roster was not that they were going to be, you know, MLS league record 2.5 to 3 goals a game scoring offense. It's not.
It also wasn't they were going to give up that many goals either.
Sure, but it's not what they did last year, and it's not what the underlying numbers said about the offense last year. The underlying numbers last year did say the defense was bad, and that was something that Chris Albright had acknowledged in the offseason, that they were aware of the underlying numbers, and the underlying numbers last year were the offense and defense were bad. And so I think it would be fair to expect, you know, with basically the same personnel, the defense to continue to be bad, even if you think you can keep overperforming because you've got guys that defend the box or whatever they like to say. But like, there was really no reason to think that the offense, you know, losing Brenner, bringing in Tom Barlow was going to suddenly become much better.
We all said though that the real signing was Chase Utley. I'm sorry, Brett Utley, Kevin.
Brett Utley.
Yeah. I'm going to call him Chase because Kevin calls him Chase.
I don't even know which one's right at this point.
Yeah. That was what everybody said the big signing was getting rid of Dom Kinnear, getting an offensive guy in. And, you know, okay, look at that. We look better with what we're doing on offense. We're creating more chances. Our XG is higher. We're putting the ball in the back of the net at still a pretty decent clip. Like,
why aren't we seeing like patterns of play like we saw Columbus pull off with you know, inferior talent on Saturday? Like they were able to just come up with these passing sequences to just run the ball down the field or lead to goal scoring opportunities or lead to opportunities that
I think we
still don't really do.
We have an answer to that. There's an easy answer to that question, is that they get into patterns of play and passing sequences because they actually have players on that team. And they have prioritized this previously under Bezbachenko, under Wilfred Nancy, that the number one thing that they prioritize in that system through the academy up are players that are good passers and that are technically skilled passing and receiving the ball. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a scouting thing, I don't know if it's a blind spot, like the players that Chris Albright brings into FC Cincinnati, they are almost, we've said this for years. Yeah. They are almost to a person poor passers. And it's not just a patterns of play thing. You can't even get into patterns of play if you're constantly under-hitting balls or overweighting balls.
Yeah.
And you're not passing to the right side of receiving players. If you're passing constantly to lead people under pressure, you can't get into your patterns of play because the person receiving the ball either doesn't get it, or they have to take a heavy touch to control, or it's on the wrong side to make the next pass, and all of a sudden your patterns of play are broken down. Like Columbus isn't doing anything differently than the FC is doing. The only thing they're doing is that they're executing, and they have selected for players that execute the simple aspects of soccer of I hit a ball, I get it to the next player, I give it to them in a position where they're able to receive and do something useful with it. We don't do that. And so because we don't do that, we try to play a lot of hero passes that, skip multiple lines and skip the progressions, because there is just an understanding on this team. They have to know it, because they're sitting here doing this as well, is that if we have to take more than 5 passes, even if one of them is under pressure, the entire system is going to break down because we're not good at it.
Well, is the problem then that these guys who have been rated as good soccer players at other teams, and in many cases, like other leagues, are just terrible at like the basics of playing soccer? Or could at least part of the problem be that they don't know what they're supposed to be doing because there's not been a clear enough kind of safety valve drilled into them, like these are our patterns, this is how you play together. If you don't have something like right away, you can do this and we'll open up space, or you move over here, and and the guy with the ball will know that you're kind of moving over here and will be able to find you. Because it feels like a lot of times, like especially with our guys, is like we sit on the ball and think before we play a lot of the time. And then like teams like Columbus and some other teams that we play, when they get the ball, they move the ball right away.
We try that too, and it just doesn't work. And you ask you ask this question about like, why are these suddenly good soccer players like unable to do this basic thing? It's like, well, if what you are doing is you are constantly buying the worst passer on every team, it'd be like if you're building an offensive line and you're like, okay, I'm going to go into free agency and build an offensive line, and you just happen to get the worst run blocker on every good offensive line, and then you get them all together and you're like, why can none of these people run block? They were part of good units. It's like, yeah, because you're you're picking the weakest link. And it's not like saying that like, oh, because you can watch highlights of guys where it's like, oh my God, look at that goal scoring touch, or look at this incredible run, or look at this ball he plays. It's like, yeah, but like the YouTube highlight that's got the techno music in the background usually doesn't have the 5 passing sequence from a midweek cup game where you really do see whether or not these people that we're signing are capable of these intricate patterns of play. I don't know. All I know is that watching what we do and watching what we have, I'm not like, it's not even, you don't even see, even last night, you don't see patterns of play because no one can connect a pass. They're passing, they're turning the ball over, they're incapable of doing anything under pressure. They receive the ball under pressure because the pass is poorly weighted. Like I lost track of how many times last night that a pass was just sort of like lazily hit and someone had to run and go get it. And by the time they go get it, they're already under pressure. It has been a problem for so long with this team. And it is such a consistent problem that I have to believe it's an issue with player selection and player evaluation at this point.
Can I offer? I've got 2 ideas here. Let's we'll go with the easy one to talk about last night. I want to offer a potentially controversial opinion. This is the optimist's take on last night, and we can tear this to shreds. I'm not even sure I fully believe any of this, all of this, certainly not. But let me offer a slightly positive view on this, which is if it was not Columbus, we would not feel as down about the loss today. That ultimately it was 2-1. That the second goal being a dumb penalty, and nothing about that game provided any new information that we didn't already know, that we have to assume Albright and Noonan and company know, which is the defense is not good enough, and a better defense would instantly improve this team's ability. On top of that, I want to take the last 5 minutes of the game out of the picture. Obi and Dado were fine in midfield. Denke scored. Evander had an off night, but was still generating chances. Buka is a new man, reborn at wingback. And there's enough there that if you squint through, beer and tear-soaked eyes, that you could see this team emerge from the summer transfer window better than ever and ready to compete. That I think open play XG, just real quick, one stat nerd thing, XG and ball possession or basically even on the night. You take the penalty away. It's these were two even teams, and I get it. We should be better than them. I'll be the first one to say it. Go listen to the intro of the last episode. Rivalry game on the road, short week, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to throw out some reasons why there may be some dead legs and underhit passes. All right. Dissect that.
Well, I think you're right to a degree in that it doesn't provide a lot of new information, setting the rivalry stuff aside, because it is the team that we saw coming before the break, which was why it was a little hasty to start running victory laps after the Vancouver game.
They won the game.
Yeah.
And they won it convincingly.
They've won other games this year. They didn't win it. They won it 4-3.
It's pretty convincing. They were up 4-2 at one point, and they were never really.
Yeah, the underlying numbers are pretty close. Vancouver had most. Vancouver had most of the ball. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can look at. Sure. I'm not looking to downgrade the Vancouver win. It was it was probably my favorite game we've played this year. Maybe the Tigres at home game eclipses it, but it's
remember
kind of
how we felt back then.
Yeah.
But like Miles not living up to the things that you expect him to do as a DP. Like if your DP center back is not winning those headers, that is a problem. And this isn't the first time we've seen him not win those headers.
Should have been Roman's ball too, but
Okay. If Roman was Miles is standing right there.
Miles should have two things can be true. Miles should have made the play, and also Roman should have gone out and gotten that.
Wasn't there a moment? Was it this game or the Vancouver game? I think there was a moment where Roman was coming out for a ball, and I assume calling Miles off, and Miles didn't get away, and they ended up crashing into each other, and it led to kind of a spill, which is like, so that's also alarming that one way or the other, someone really did something bad and dumb there.
I was going to mention that. I bet Roman saves it if Robinson isn't defending that. Like I think he's more prepared to play the header.
But the Matt slide. This is a bit speculative, but my thought my understanding is he kind of acknowledged after the game that he shouldn't have gone to ground there.
Yeah, you should never go to ground ever in the box. The risk reward is just catastrophically poor.
Is my kind of body language, mind reading take on it is it's a play by somebody who doesn't trust his physical attributes to the same degree as he used to. So he's trying to overcompensate by like anticipating or extending a little bit. And what he really ended up doing, right, was putting himself in a vulnerable position and begging Arfson to dive.
Yeah. Not a penalty. Can we just say that? Can we go back
it's
to
a penalty.
There was contact, and you know what? It wasn't
runs into it. But yeah,
sure. But when you go to ground, you are asking for you put yourself in a vulnerable position. He was asking for it.
I think sure the ref calls it. I think the VAR could have easily walked it right back.
If the ref doesn't call it, VAR is not going to give it.
That's probably a better way to phrase it.
VAR is going to look at that and be like, I can't believe someone did something this dumb. I'm not going to bail them out for this. Like,
I guess I don't know what standard they use anymore, but I guess it's not clear and obvious that the referee made an error in awarding a penalty there. So sure,
if there's contact, I'm pretty sure.
I'm
pretty sure the guidelines say, like, if there's contact at all, they can't. They're not supposed to take it back, even if they wouldn't have called it, because the standard is not. Would you have called this if you were the center referee, or
and had in a vacuum, 4 camera angles,
or in a vacuum? Do you think this should have been called? It's basically, I mean, it's clear and obvious. I believe it's the standard, but the question for the VAR in a situation like that is there definitively no contact before he gets the ball?
Yeah.
Right. And you can't say that.
Yeah. So Chief, your phrase is more appropriate there, that if it was not called a penalty, VAR was not going to intervene and award it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Your point, Kevin, on like the optimist view of this, like, first off, number one,
be nice.
No, it's fine. Like, because no, it's fine. What the new thing we learned about this team was that this was by far the worst offensive showing that they've had since they made the adjustment to bring Dado back in the midfield, move Book out wide, and put Geedy at center back and Dem up top. Dem had an awful game. Like, he was flat out terrible. Dado had a terrible game leading up to the part I'm sure we'll talk about, like a lot of turnovers, like not a lot of ball progressing passes, not a lot of good action that he had. It was just a bad game.
Buka had a rough night. I think
Buka played okay.
Yeah,
Buka played okay, but like he got beat a lot on defense and didn't really offer a ton on offense. He had a couple of nice moves, but end of the day, like, it wasn't good enough. And so what we said on the Vancouver episode was, look, if this team's got 3 or 4 goals in it per game, then a lot of the other problems go away. And for the last like 7 or 8 games, this team has had 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 goals in it. And in this game, they had nothing. They had no ideas. They couldn't hold on to the ball. They couldn't possess the ball. And they were addicted to taking half field shots and dribbling straight through and being dispossessed by someone that just stonewalls them directly. So what did we learn about this team that we didn't already know? I think we learned that, there was a 7 or 8 game run where this offense was on fire that carried through the break to Vancouver. And here it was a game that the offense went away, and it's like, okay, so maybe what they thought they had figured out, they don't have it figured out as much. Now, we'll see in a week, and maybe this is a 1-week aberration and they get back to where it is. You don't have any way of knowing that. But that's a new thing that we learned, is that you cannot count on this revamped offense to score 2 or 3 goals a game regularly. Like, they're going to have moments like this. And, if they'd done that in this game, they scored 2 or 3 goals, it's a completely different conversation we're having right now.
Yeah. I think I said in the preview, if FC Cincinnati scored 2 goals, they would not lose this game.
Yeah.
They didn't get that.
I mean, yeah. And like, this is the worst team they've played in that run. This is an awful Columbus team. Like, the players on the field, they're awful. Like, you're talking guys it's a glorified academy team with Max Arfston, and then Daniel Gazdag gets a pity start when he can't see the field for most of these games.
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst Columbus team that FC Cincinnati will ever play. And they couldn't win it. And another thing we learned, that's something that, we already knew. And that's that for whatever reason, and I don't know why this is, but that the second you add just even a little bit more pressure to a game, that Pat Noonan coach teams just fold. Yeah. And this was a game where it's yet another game. It's a rivalry game. They know it's a rivalry game. They talked about it, and they went and they got their lunch money taken by a team that is grossly inferior on the salary sheet and grossly inferior on the talent. But if you ask people, you went guy by guy in the starting lineup, there's more talent on the FC Cincinnati side. They're with an interim manager. They don't have any of their new signings in. Their number one striker is on season-ending injury. And once again, the FC goes to the Columbus Crew and they get played off the field because I don't know, because apparently like driving 2 hours north, like you're not even leaving the state of the time zone. It's a mythical road game that professional athletes somehow collapse. And the home field advantage is so important that it overrides the fact that you're millionaires and they're academy kids. But that's just how this team rolls. And I don't know when it's going to change. I don't know how it changes, but it's not going to change. It doesn't seem like it's changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, this is a longstanding issue. I agree that the team is frequently coming into games less prepared and less ready to compete than their opponents. I mean, this goes back to 22-23 when, just regardless of how good they are, they would every so often just get blown out.
I don't even think it's coming in. I don't even think it's even coming in to compete. They came into this game ready to compete. They look good for the first 15 minutes. It's just that in these games, they wilt. And as the game goes longer and as the pressure intensifies, they lose composure. They lose the ability to pass. And by the end of the game, they're picking fights on the field because they have mentally broken down so poorly that they have just lost all control of the moment and just what is happening around them.
Yeah, they've had mentally tough players. Okay, like they've had players who would always leave it all out there.
Oh,
like the beginnings of Miazga, right? Pre-injury Miazga, you had Yerson, you had
Lucho,
until he had his little thing. I would throw Arias in this category.
Obi
is in that category. So they've had like guys who would not wilt and guys who would keep pushing and play hard and play tough and always be fighting. And when they've had and their best team had the most of those guys, but I'm with Chief. Like they haven't really had a team.
Yeah,
you could say this about.
Yeah, and it's always the same.
Not the last couple of years.
It's always the same script too. It's like watching a bad movie when they go up to Columbus. It's no matter how well they start, and they've started great before. They've scored multiple goals. They've gone ahead. No matter how well they start, it is like being, the second they sense that this is a big moment, the team loses all composure. They are unable to do basic things like basically string passes together, communicate with one another, arrange their defense. And it just continues to spiral. It continues to spiral. This is how this team plays. Happened against Inter Miami. When they played Inter Miami in the Open Cup, happened against Inter Miami in the playoffs. It happened against Columbus in the playoffs when they were up in Columbus. Is that
Chief?
That they are unable to, when things get bad in pressure games, they are unable to get their composure right. They are unable to stop the bleeding. And in this game, not only were they unable to stop the bleeding and get their composure right, the game ends with them, the entire team, in a complete lack of composure, a complete lack of leadership. And I'll say it, like this continuing to happen more than anything else. I think Noonan overall this year has done a pretty good job with the roster he's been given. I think he's been pragmatic. I think that he is getting the most out of what they have. I think it's probably one of his best coaching jobs. But this continues to be an issue for Pat Noonan coach teams, is that the lack of mental toughness collectively and the lack of mental discipline collectively is a real problem for this team when things get tough. And it's a bad look for the organization that this keeps happening.
Yeah, I think two things to that point. Chief, I think it's easier to list the high leverage, high pressure moments where I feel like FC Cincinnati has risen to meet that moment. 2022, when they needed to beat DC United to clinch the playoffs, it was largely in hand, but it wasn't 100%. They go out and dropped, I think it was like 5 goals on DC. And it was, just a thorough victory. And the other one was when they beat Philadelphia in 2023 in the playoffs. It was a one-off game, and they did it, and it was great, and they look good. Other than that, if they've advanced in the playoffs, it is a best of 3 series where they dropped one of the games, and it was like pulling teeth to get through it. Columbus, New York Red Bulls, or they failed to meet that moment. The Open Cup, Miami, get like all of that exactly right.
Second leg of Tigres down in down in Monterey.
Exactly. And similarly, the year prior, going away to Monterey as well, where we played Tigres and Monterey in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
And we've screwed the away leg in both ones, despite it being within reach, right? It was tied at the home leg, and then we went down there 2 years ago, whatever. To the last point, I'm gonna defend my boy Dado here, and then you guys can have at it. Stupid foul. He kicks out. I don't want people to
second time this has happened to Dado.
I think the other one was slightly different, but I'll take the point. It's not the worst foul in the world. It's not the most aggressive thing you've ever seen. I am stunned that FC Cincinnati fans are acting like this was him taking a punch, throwing a punch on a guy. And 2, FC Cincinnati did not instigate the after game shenanigans. He takes the foul. The Columbus players take offense. They step up. FC Cincinnati players are not going to curl up into a ball. They're gonna stand their ground. Dado immediately walks off the field. That's it. That's the whole thing. Final whistle blows. Crew players sprint down the stadium. They sprint down into the tunnel. Other than Dado having the kick, which Taylor Twellman said it wasn't a red card for him. The referee initially had a yellow card pulled out and then switched over to a red. Go back and watch it. It's not the most egregious thing you've ever seen. It's usually a yellow card in my opinion. That's the most egregious thing that happens. Like everything else from the foul on is on Columbus. And if people have a different opinion, I highly recommend go back and rewatch it. It's not on our guys. Like if you want to say like Dado kicking out in that moment is a problem, that's fine. I'd argue I like that he cared. I like that this game meant something. I like that he hated losing and watching their guy time waste in the corner wasn't acceptable to him. That's good. That's what I want. We got excited when Matt Niaska was throwing heart hands at the Red Bull supporters because he felt it in the moment. That's what a gamer is, man. I like it. Like I don't like that he's like trying to hurt somebody, but like I like that he cared. I don't know. Maybe I've got Dado tinted glasses, which if somebody makes one, hook a brother up. But I don't think it was that bad.
It was a really dumb tackle.
Yeah.
It does seem like the ref maybe wasn't going to give a red until there was a whole thing
scrum
going on. And I mean, there are hard tackles, not all the time, but they happen. And, it's not then nobody made the crew rush the ref and like try to start a fight. Like, what are they going to do at that point? Like the tackle's already been made. The ref has called a foul. He's trying to pull a card out and you guys have your hands like all over the referee. Like that is something that like that I think just as a matter of principle, Columbus deserves, I think, pretty significant consequences for what happened after the foul. And they've even said in interviews, like nobody said anything on the FC side that instigated it. It was the crew all deciding that because there was a hard foul and it was the end of the game, they were going to start a fight and like shove the referee and like rush into the tunnel after people.
Yeah.
Like that's a degree of escalation that is frankly entirely in Columbus, and it's uncalled for. And just be like, you can't have rules that say because there's a hard foul, you get to start a fight without consequences because you're asking for it at that point in time. However, if you want to talk about what kind of fire you want to see, Columbus has us beat there too.
Yeah.
Like Dado makes a stupid foul that is doing absolutely nothing. It's way too late to start trying hard or competing or whatever. Right. All you're doing is trying to hurt somebody. Okay. And then immediately the crew players are all back in their guy.
Yeah.
Right. And
because they care. We don't. Like the FC Cincinnati players, they talk and they say the right things about this game. The coaching staff says the right things about this game. There's absolutely nothing, like literally absolutely nothing in any of these games over the last like 3 seasons, even going back to 2023, that leads me to believe that any of these players care more about this game than any other game.
You know who does care?
Brenner.
Only one
guy. Only one. Only guy that thinks this is only guy that gives a shit. The crew give a shit. They were fired up through the last whistle.
Yeah.
Us? I think Lucho did.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time having happy thoughts about Lucho after all that went down.
I know, but I think when he was happy, he did.
Yeah. But like these players don't, like Dado doesn't care. Like Dado was frustrated about Dado.
Vander doesn't care.
Denke doesn't care.
Vander's booting the ball 50 feet in the air.
Yeah. Like they don't care. Like, and to me, the whole problem with it is that like, it's like, it reminds me a little bit and it gives vibes of the UC Xavier brawl in the Crosstown shootout, where it's like, who is at fault for the brawl happening? You have both sides. You know who looks like fucking losers? UC. Because you got your ass beat in the game. And like, you get your ass beat in a game like this. I don't have time for tough guy posturing or shouting. And you can claim all you want. Well, the crew escalated the situation. Yeah, they get to do that because they beat the fuck out of you. And like your response there should be shame that like your guy went in for a hard challenge that he didn't make at any point during the game otherwise. Like there was multiple opportunities where maybe a little bit of hustle from Dado could have done something better. He chooses at this moment to really go hard finally when the game is over. And they get all mad about that and they start defending their guy. And then what? You're going to be fake tough guys and like stick up now. Now you're going to pick this moment to really get fired up and go protect your teammates. You weren't doing shit when Dado got fouled hard 3 times earlier in the game. No card. You weren't doing shit earlier in the game when you could have scored and made it a game. Like, you don't get to decide that it's a rivalry and it's intense in the 93rd minute after you got your ass beat for the entirety of the game. You're a fake tough guy. And I don't have time for fake tough guys. I don't. If this game matters that much to you, you're going after them from jump. But there was nothing like that. There was no confrontations. There was no yelling. There was nothing about this was any different to the FC until at the end when it's like, okay, now we got to finally pretend like this cares. It's a bad look. Like being involved in a fight for any reason after you just got your ass beat in a rivalry game is such a lame look. And like, if the roles were reversed, regardless of who started it, we would be clowning the shit out of the Columbus crew for getting into a fight with us after we'd already beaten them and the game was over. It's like, haha, look at these guys. They have to fight after like, we don't get to defend that. Like, I'm not going to get sanctimonious about it. I'm not going to,
I don't think it was a fight though, is the thing. It's like, it's a dumb foul from Dado. Sure. Dumb fouls happen. This dumb foul could have happened in the 75th minute. Like, dumb fouls happen. It was the way the Columbus crew responded. Nothing from anything I've seen from videos and watching the game back, nothing from what I saw was FC Cincinnati acting like tough guys, engaging in a fight. I saw crew guys trying to throw punches and failing, which is always funny. Soccer guys fighting is just the funniest thing. I don't see anything that our guys did, again, other than Dado's foul.
Well, the crew, you know, I'm not absolving them of what they did. I think they won't, but I think they do deserve punishment for the situation that they created, because it was totally, you know, unnecessary.
You'd say the definition of mass confrontation.
Like it was inexcusable and unnecessary. But so was Dado's foul. And one of them is a group of teammates defending their guy, you know, and the other is somebody, you know, some people have said, like, you know, it's Dado like showing fire or whatever. I think it's somebody who's embarrassed and frustrated, acting out immaturely. It's not
granted.
And if you were a competitor, you wouldn't be getting beat to 50-50 balls all game.
Yep.
You know, you would be showing it in how you play, and you would be showing it like, yeah, maybe there's like a little bit of rough play, but by and large, it's hard play. Not by and large dirty play, although understanding that when you are really pushing it and skirting the line, occasionally you get a cross. Sure. That does happen. Like, we've seen a lot of guys who I think are great competitors occasionally do stuff that is over the line, and that is you try to avoid it, but it does happen sometimes.
Or in the case of Yerson Mascari, he checks people's oil on the field. You know, it happens.
Yeah. Who hasn't bitten Chiellini?
Right. But this isn't that.
No.
This is somebody who's personally embarrassed and frustrated, and sees an opportunity because the game is ending to act out, and does it for, frankly, no reason. And it doesn't make me feel proud of the guys. It doesn't make me believe that they cared. This is not somebody, like, I think people are being a bit sanctimonious about it. Don't get me wrong, because it's not the worst thing I've seen on a soccer field. It's not going to be the worst thing we're going to see on a soccer field this year. Right. But it's a stupid thing, and I don't see any reason to defend it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Is that I think it's a terrible look. I think it's a bitch ass look. I'm not going to sit here and say I never want to see Dado play for this team again. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Like, he made a choice.
He's going to sit more than one game. I almost guarantee you that.
Yeah, either from the league or definitely from Noonan.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, he's going to probably sit at least 2 games in the league, maybe 3. He's now a repeat offender. He's had another late challenge like this late in a game where, you know, he makes a frustration play that draws a red card. So he's a repeat offender in the eyes of the league. He's probably going to sit 3 games, and not for nothing, I like Dado, but that's a dumb thing to do when you're like hold on a roster spot with the coach is probably like razor thin. Yeah. Like, wouldn't be what was doing if I was him. So yeah, no, I'm not going to get sanctimonious about it. It's that, like, yeah, we, at the end of this game, like, if the losing on the field wasn't enough, the team looked like a bunch of losers being involved in a fight afterwards. Like, and I'm with Grayson entirely. That's a great way to put it, is that you want to show me fight. I want to see you dying to win a 50-50 ball. You want to show me fight. I want to see you selling out on every run to try and make something happen on offense. Like, Twellman said it on the broadcast, like, credit where credit's due. You got enough fight in you to do this at the end of the game. Why the hell was everything so stagnant for the 90 minutes you were playing?
Yeah. I don't know that the FC Cincinnati players did anything. The bare minimum at the end of the game is the only thing. The FC Cincinnati players didn't chase anybody down a tunnel. They weren't trying to punch guys. They weren't, you know, clearing the bench, trying to attack the Columbus bench. Like,
I think crew fans, as is characteristic of them, were extremely soft and over the top about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But these are these are fragile people. Okay.
Special.
This is a fan base that is made of the most delicate of glass. Okay. And so, nobody else on the team from what I saw, nobody else in FC Cincinnati did anything wrong in that entire situation. It was the crew players creating what happened, because nothing about a hard foul makes you react that way. You make a choice to react that way. Yeah. And Mo Farsi made a choice to chase people down the hall. And he even said that it was all over the foul, which is crazy to me. Okay.
Yeah. I would have made up that he said something at the very least.
You kind of have to, right?
Right. Let me ask you guys this. He said Bay wasn't very good.
Right.
So I don't know how long the suspension will be for Dado. I do think probably don't see him for 3 league
3 games is what I'm betting.
I think Farsi should get suspended, to be honest.
I think Farsi should be suspended too.
But charging down the tunnel, that's a problem, man. He's trying to cause problems. Okay. Miazga will be out on a yellow card suspension for San Jose. Who comes back into the starting 11 faster following the end of their official suspension? Dado or Miazga? Keep in mind,
Miazga.
We have a summer transfer window that may change how these things.
I mean, if it was me, I think that's the last game Matt Miazga plays for FC Cincinnati. If it was me making the decision,
right.
I'm sorry. It's nothing personal, and it hurts me. I love Matt Miazga. I love the attitude he plays with. I love the leadership. I love what he brought to this team. It's gone. And they've given him a really long time to get it back. It ain't back.
Yeah. Matt's not helping us win games right now. And
he's not in the future.
And we know virtually for a fact that he's not going to be helping us win games next year or ever again, unless he's playing for our opponent.
Yeah.
Somebody like Andre Chirilla, or even Gilberto Flores, is maybe not helping us win, who's not with the team anymore, right? Is maybe not going to be helping us win a game right now through their play, or maybe isn't, but could
next year.
Andre
learn something.
Andre Chirilla might help us win games for a long time at some point.
Yeah. The damning thing is that if you played a back line of Chirilla, Haglund, and Kyle Smith, I think you'd be hard pressed to say they'd be doing any worse. I don't know they'd be doing any better, but the goal scoring pace the goals allowed pace this team's on right now. So for me, that should be it for Matt Miazga. Thank you very much. We love you. If you want to stick around, we'll give you a send off at TQL Stadium, but we can make this a buyout or we can make this a mutual term. We'd love to have you as a coach. I don't know, whatever. But
I think it has to be.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do it. If they were going to do it, they would have done it over the off-season break. They're not going to do it.
If you're not going to play him, you have to move him or cut him.
They're going to play him.
I know they're going to play him, but they shouldn't play him. And then once you make the choice that you're not going to play him, he can't be on the team anymore, because I just have a suspicion that if Matt Miazga is on the team and available, but not getting selected week in, week out, there will be problems associated with that.
I don't think that's the case. I don't. There's. When have you ever heard that about Matt Miazga?
On the record, never. Yeah. From people that officially never.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Yeah. Do we think that's the last time we saw Dado for this team? Either Noonan doesn't want him, or they decide to sell him for we've seen this team give up on an Andy Craven way back when for a reckless red card once upon a time.
I was actually just going to say that this doesn't approach Andy Craven's for me.
Go look up that red card. Ownership shipped him out later that day after that play
and brought in
Danny Koenig.
Danny Koenig.
Great move.
Yeah.
Who was very good.
I was going to say Pavel Bucha. I don't know. We talked about it last time. Moved into sole possession of 10th place on the FC Cincinnati all-time goal scoring record. He passed two club legends in Shauna Coley and GB on that list. Incredible.
Pavel just continues to make it happen.
It was a 3-way tie there, and it might have been Orishano's in 9th. He's 2 or 3 goals ahead of him. I forget who was tied in 3rd. I'll have to look it up later. So there you go.
Yeah, sucks.
Yeah,
sucks. Yeah.
All-star game. Evander will be well rested.
Yeah.
Maybe someday this team will care as much as the fans do about the rivalry. Today is not that day.
Hey, shout out to any and all of the fans who clapped the team out. I appreciate it. Apparently, it's not enough to tell the team how much this game matters. So let's start coming up with some ideas on how we might encourage the team to care more about this. I have a controversial idea. Fly to Columbus. I think the ritual of getting on the plane is important. I don't know if they drive to Nashville, but maybe we just got to get on an airplane.
I'm sure they fly to Nashville.
So get on an airplane to Columbus.
You know what they could do legitimately that would be a gesture. You got 3 guys on this team that are making a lot of money between Evander, Denke, and Miles Robinson. After a performance like that, I would kind of like to see the players step up, those 3 players specifically, and refund the fans that traveled. That there's a traveling supporters section. I don't know how many tickets are in it. 200 tickets, 250 tickets, $80 a pop.
Yeah,
you want to do something that says you care and says you understand that this is a rivalry and that it's not good enough. There are ways you can do that I think would be a goodwill gesture to say, you know what, we sucked. You continue to travel and support us in this rivalry game, even though we always shit the bed in front of you. At this point, it's got to be masochistic behavior that you keep driving up to pay for tickets to this game if you're a fan, because they always lose. They're never going to win in Columbus.
Speaking of traveling to Columbus, Chief, I need to interrupt you because I am stunned. I did not bring this up before. Shout out to Damon Gumbert for the Post, who traveled to Columbus to cover this game in person, was in the press conference. After the game, I texted him one thing only, which was, I need to know if Dado said a bad word. That was just, I got to know. He said, I don't think he did. I said, okay, I'll survive.
Yeah. But, if Evander, Denke, and Miles Robinson, $3 million a year, you want to put that to good use and show that you actually do care about this game? There are 250 traveling fans that I think would like their money back for what they did. You're not going to make it whole, but you could show that you care. Throwing it out there.
I think it'd be a great, great gesture.
Well, how much does Tiari make?
What
the crew attacker who beat Miles for the header?
$20. I don't know.
Yeah.
He makes MLS Next Pro League minimum.
I can find out here. I got the salary guide up. I was looking this up to try and do some math for.
No, pull this up. This will be said.
All right, we want Tiari, where the podcast does the research here.
Looks like $500,000.
Yeah, $530,000 guaranteed comp.
Crew traded $200,000 in 2026 GAM for him from Atlanta. So he was a very highly prized talent coming into the game.
Is that less than we've paid for Jimenez at this point?
Yeah.
Probably worth it for, a goal in Hell is Real. I'd pay $200,000 for a goal in Hell is Real.
Sure. I'd pay $200,000 for one right now. Would have had a better time recording this episode.
Speaking of recording this episode, should we just move to part 2? Answer some Patreon questions? Let's do it. Also sponsoring today's episode, our good friends over at E&L Roofing. Look, there's nothing worse than needing to figure out who to call about roof damage. Maybe something's gone wrong with the gutters. Maybe you need the siding relooked at. It's a tough spot to be. And I know what I would normally do. I'd ask around. I'd say, hey, who do you got? Who's your roofing guy, right? Like if you're anything like me, you like to have a guy. You need a roofing guy. I got you a roofing guy, okay? It's E&L Roofing. Go check them out. E&LRoofing.com. Give them a call. They've been doing this stuff since 2009, covering the entire greater Cincinnati area. They will hook you up. Chief can vouch for them. They actually genuinely did work on his house. He enjoyed it, and wouldn't you know it, that's how we even got this conversation rolling to get them to sponsor the podcast. So we can totally and completely vouch for them. Absolutely love them. I've recommended them to a few friends. They've enjoyed their work as well, okay? So you need a roofing guy. We got you a roofing guy, E&L Roofing. And hey, sweeten the pot a little bit. You mentioned the postcast. When you give them a call, you ask them to come out for the inspection. They'll knock off that price up to 20% off. It's win-win, okay? So give them a call. Go check them out. Link is in the description of this episode as well. elroofing.com. You're not going to be disappointed. Huge thank you to E&L Roofing for sponsoring this episode. We are back, and man, it's been a hot second since we've answered some July Patreon questions. And that is why we are here. Look, if you like what's happening here, you can support us on Patreon. If you really hate what's happening here, reach out to me. You can financially end this. You can support us on Patreon. And in doing so, you get to ask us a question once a month, and we will answer it on the show. Now, with this, we have... a lot of people don't take advantage of this, but we do have this. We have a phone number where we get to leave a voicemail. And this is the first voicemail that we have.
Leagues Cup is around the corner, and I have a worker who is a Pumas fan from Mexico City. I'm planning on taking him to the match coming up. What's the best way to get him to fall in love with the city? Thanks.
Oh, great question. What's the best way to get an away fan to quickly fall in love with the city?
Well, it depends on what your friend is or your coworker is that what they're into. Like if they're into beer or drinking, there's all sorts of great bars, cocktail bars. There's the brewery scene is obviously awesome. You never go wrong with Cincinnati Zoo. Cincinnati Zoo is phenomenal. There's lots of really cool stuff there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go out to go get a great view of the city. Go up to the Incline Public House and sit overlooking the city, or find some place with a river view, a rooftop bar to get a drink in. Hopefully it's a nice night. There's all sorts of stuff you can do that's cool. It's just match it up with whatever they're into. And there's something cool in Cincinnati that matches up with that always, I think.
I think it sounds good. What about splurge on some all-inclusives? Just do the event up big. Just come away with a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling about the stadium, the game, the experience.
Leagues Cup should be cheaper.
You'd hope so. Yeah, I think those are good options. This does remind me, we got to put together a post-official match day guide that we can send to away fans, people doing their first home game, whatever it is, and then direct them that way. I'm not giving up my parking spot though. That's just for me.
Take them singing karaoke at Tostados. That'll really that'll help you fall in love with the city.
Yeah. The real high and low is to get a meal at the precinct and the post game at Tostados across the street.
It's been done.
Live both lives in Cincinnati. Okay, and sadly, the last voicemail we have here today. Oh man, I love Postman's long ass voicemails.
Hey fellas, Postman here. World Cup's over. The FC's back. So of course my question this month is about food. Last week, while I was at work, wife and kids took the in-laws out for their anniversary. I didn't make the dinner because I was at work. So I was on my own for dinner that night, and I made lentil soup. And I only eat lentil soup when I'm making lentil soup because my wife won't. And she also won't make beets. So if I want a beet salad, I got to make it myself. And so I was curious what kind of foods you...
Ooh, okay. Keeping up great work implies great work is being done. But to the question, is there anything that you and or your partner will not partake in that the other one will? This feels like a Grayson question. Grayson, is there something in the Grayson household that just doesn't go, all the way from one to the other here?
Yeah, I mean, so I eat basically anything. Like my general rule is if people eat it, I shouldn't have any problem with it.
If they find it edible, I find it edible.
So I'll go anywhere, high, low, whatever. But my wife doesn't eat she doesn't eat most meats.
Okay.
You can get her to eat like a white bread bird in a pinch and like a couple of kinds of fish. But we go to sushi, we're pretty much just limited to like tuna and salmon stuff, like no eel, no crab, no more interesting or more out there stuff, no urchin, certainly. No octopus, no squid. So we can't do the squid ink paella anywhere because nobody makes that for just one.
Just a little plate, please.
I couldn't have guinea pig in Peru because they're too big, and I was like, well, I'm not going to eat like half a guinea pig and throw it away.
What an out!
And so steakhouses are really out of the. Steakhouses are mostly out of the picture because
it seems
they
pointless.
don't pay a lot of attention to like their non-steak options. I'm not saying they should, but they're not thinking about non-steak eaters when they have like other stuff, but it sucks typically.
Yeah, they would tell you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let me ask you:
a lot of places that do like multi-course stuff that don't like accommodate like vegetarian type restrictions are out of the question.
Yeah.
Can't really do omakase because there's going to be some stuff in there that my wife doesn't eat. So that's like,
is this an ethical decision or a taste decision or
who knows?
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I'm gonna go the opposite end of the spectrum here. I eat like a trash panda. I always have. I've expanded significantly as I've gotten older what I eat, but I still sometimes like to go home a little bit to, what brings joy. My wife despises, Mrs. Sheep despises fast food, like hates it.
Oh, no.
She like hates fast food. Like in a pinch, if we're on the road, we're traveling somewhere. Yeah, sure. We're limited though that like we'll tolerate Wendy's. We'll tolerate McDonald's. We'll tolerate Chick-fil-A. But I love me some Taco Bell.
Right.
She thinks it's the most disgusting thing. Like I get judged so hardcore whenever it's like, hey, did you order Taco Bell last night? It's like, no. Well, I found like a hot sauce packet. It's like, oh shit.
Oh man, when I don't have fast food a lot. My wife doesn't eat it at all. So like road trips always take a little bit longer because we can't just pull over to like McDonald's and drive through, right? We have to like find some like farm to table place in some like college town, you know? So that's a thing. But like occasionally, if my wife's like out of town, I'll get like, let's be real, it's usually Cane's.
Sure. Sure.
And then I have to like, I feel it's like being like a spy.
Yeah.
Right. Like
the bag has
like,
to be concealed.
It's like a combination of like being a spy and like being like in high school and you're doing something smelly in your room and you got to like figure out like all the the ways to like hide the scent and clear out surfaces and stuff. And
I'll walk down the street to throw the bag away.
Oh
like,
yeah,
to make
absolutely.
Sure it's not like
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to let that evidence be found. Yeah,
I love this. One thing that might help both of you then in this case is, believe it or not, Taco Bell, if you build the correct menu items here and there, you can get a fairly clean, fairly macro compliant meal with the black beans and grilled chicken. You can do okay.
I'm gonna be real with you.
This is no help.
No help. Yeah, it's not help. It's in no way helpful. Like, look, you could at this point, legitimately, you could make the most delicious, like healthy, high quality menu item at Taco Bell. My wife still wouldn't eat it just because she likes to hold that over me. That that's like fair. You eat this awful food and I'm better than this.
It's a bargaining chip, right? Like
McDonald's could start selling like watermelon burrata. It would not fly.
No.
Fair enough. In our household, I aspire to Grayson's level of acceptance. There is something in me that I've tried very hard to suppress that won't, which is like fermented foods just don't, I can't get past it. So kimchi and sauerkraut are just not going to work for me, which takes a lot of Korean food out, which is my wife's favorite cuisine. And so there is a section of our fridge that is like various kimchis and pastes and things that I can't engage with. So I try. I can dabble, but I'm not eating kimchi straight out of the jar. Okay. Like I've got decency. Okay, now we go to the written questions here. Let's keep it non-soccer here while we're going. Oh, I like this one. Scott Wilson asks, place a futures bet on what Cincinnati infrastructure project actually gets completed first. Our options are Brent Spence Bridge replacement, streetcar expansion, the caps on Fort Washington Way, or any extension of the subway. Which one goes first?
Brent Spence, right?
Well, I think the caps on Fort Washington Way are going to be, they've got the funding in place, but they'll get that done first. The Brent Spence Bridge is going to take like a decade, right? Like that's not going to be ready for.
I have no sense of the timeline.
What's the time horizon for the caps?
Not a decade, I don't think.
I don't know.
8 years, it still beats it, right? Like,
you will never go broke betting the over on when the Brent Spence Bridge replacement is getting built.
I mean, yeah, surely it's like, yeah, I could be down with the caps. I mean, it's one of those because the other two just are never going to happen.
Yeah.
Certainly don't have viable funding. Let me throw another one then in there that Scott does not have a viable direct path, but feels inevitable. New arena. Would you say a new arena beats either of those projects?
Beats Brent Spence.
Beats Brent Spence. Yeah, I think that if we're doing the order, it's caps on Fort Washington Way, new arena, Brent Spence. I still don't believe the new Brent Spence Bridge is going to get built. Like they've been talking about building it for 30 years.
statistically, not to turn this into the Cincinnati Urbanist podcast, statistically, there's not much of an argument for a new bridge. Certainly not an additional bridge. So traffic numbers have gone down every year for the last 10 years. I don't know.
Yeah, but vehicles are also getting heavier, which is another issue. And it at some point becomes there's all sorts I get that that's the urbanist thing, the just one more lane bro thing, but also it's a shipping or a freight corridor. And so they want more freight moving, and there's a tangible cost with every minute freight spends idling on a highway. There's a economic cost to that. And there's also an air pollution cost to that as well. So there's, I don't know, the maths at some point, I think. And I've seen enough bridges just fall down where it's let's make sure we're on our P's and Q's on bridges. All right.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Redbeard, who, by the way, wrote a fantastic piece. People should absolutely go find that on the website. The Fan Index. Redbeard has put together a comprehensive metric to determine how much value for your dollar are you getting as an MLS fan across the league. And Cincinnati does okay, but not as good as some teams. Though there's a couple of teams that are just getting robbed by buying tickets. But Redbeard asks, how do you tell when someone is lying?
They're hosting a podcast.
They've got a microphone in front of them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when you know somebody's lying. When they say, there's no way we were letting Miles Robinson walk out that door. I feel like that might have been a lie.
They describe how many more windows they need to be successful.
3 to 5. That's all we need.
It's a complicated thing. I think I'm pretty good at telling when people are lying. But there's different gradations, right? Because not everybody's all that good at lying. And sometimes, people will just say something. They'll describe an experience they had or whatever. And it just doesn't logically or realistically jibe with any experience you've ever had. Right. You're like the DMV doesn't work this way. People don't say this. This sounds like dialogue made up in a fanfic. By a Tumblr teenager. There's I do think kind of trusting your own BS detector is important to not getting deceived. Other is anytime somebody is using politician cadence or talking in sound bites, it's well, yeah, that's this person's either lying to me or they're avoiding having to tell me something.
They're choosing their words too carefully.
Well, whenever somebody uses the word always or never is usually a lie, or usually something that there's gradations.
Certainly put up your radar. In those circumstances,
there are lies. I think are pretty easy to spot. I think it's when it's exaggerations or underselling, where it's they're trying to convince you something that is true isn't as what it seems. That's the ones where you always got to be on your guard for, because I think it's a lot harder to just bullshit people now. Whenever you watch old TV shows or old movies, and the plot would be easily solved with a cell phone. If back in the day, you could just say back in the day, oh, why didn't you were an hour late. It's oh yeah, no, there was an accident on 75. And no one would be able to check you on that.
Right.
Now, if someone says oh, there was a bad backup, well, that's funny. So I just put it in and it says everything's fine right now on the maps thing. There are so many things like that where you just can't get away with lying anymore on stuff like that. So I think the out and out, just total lies, kind of, unless you're a politician, you've got a sycophantic media covering for you. I think it's a little harder to get away with that these days.
Yeah. If you ever watched the show Lie to Me, which was my favorite guilty pleasure, stupid procedural, everybody gives it up in a micro expression, just a little flash of your face before you reveal the truth, and that's how you can tell. You just got to be really good at that. Red Lee asks, what's your favorite soccer history book? Bonus points for anything not by Jonathan Wilson, which is hard to do. I've got a couple right here. Here, look, let's do some free plugs. Zonal Marking by Michael Cox. That's good. The Ball is Round, David Goldblatt. He also updated that later with The Age of Football. I don't know. Do I have my favorite one?
I can give you one. I just read one on vacation, actually, that I can give a strong recommendation to.
Please.
The Fall of the House of FIFA. Ooh. It's a book, investigative journalist book that basically just collects a bunch of different source materials and some independent reporting by him as well on the indictments by the U.S. Attorney General's office that brought down Sepp Blatter, Jack Warner, Chuck Blazer, and all those guys. And it's one of those reads where it's a good read because everyone's heard knows kind of what's going on with all this. But when you scratch and you actually find the details out, it's like, yeah, Jack Warner and Chuck Blazer stole $10 million that was supposed to help ex-slave victims, like victims of the African diaspora and like basically slavery reparations. And they just stole that money instead of giving it out. Like, just like stuff like that, where you've all heard the story about Chuck Blazer having the apartment for his cats. Yeah. But he's not really lovably corrupt. He's actually an awful person.
Damn.
Yeah. It's a good book, though.
Grayson, you got a soccer history book that speaks to you?
I'm not sure I've read a soccer history book. Game out, play on the Walker Zimmerman story.
Yes, of course. Anything by the Dr. Sogut, who was the DC Eric Sogut?
Ergen Sokut.
Something like that.
Ergut.
I don't think we ever offered actual reviews. Maybe I've already mentioned this before.
I actually picked the book back up recently, so I'm like 60% of the way through his first book. It doesn't get better.
Yeah. I finished my book.
Does Michael Scarn appear at any point?
The thing I was having trouble with, and it took me a little bit, he changed the name of the main character at some point in writing the book, but didn't edit the book everywhere. Took me a little bit to realize there were two names for the same character.
What?
So in my book, there's too many points of view, too many like kind of sudden shifts of points of view without like really understanding like what we're doing. Like they'll shift points of view like one paragraph to another in the same chapter. It's like we're the demon in Fallen. Just like every time somebody touches somebody, we're now in a different like body.
Is there at least the like 3-star like break?
No.
Oh, geez. Okay.
No. And there's too many characters. They're not sufficiently differentiated from each other. The main guy is like actually seems like kind of a bad dude.
Gotta love that. Like, actually, I don't like this guy.
So yeah, it's tough. I do feel like I need to know more about Mr. Sogut's personal life and like what his business and personal relationships have been with like various professionals in and around the world of soccer, because I feel like we may get some insight into like who these characters are supposed to be and why they do the things that they do. But I'll tell you, if anybody wants some reading, any federal court of appeals opinion or district court opinion involving Major League Soccer or U.S. soccer always got something in there that that you didn't know.
I'll give you one final suggestion, and if I'll say when we ever do a postcast book club, I may force this to be the first book, and then we can move to non-soccer books. It is my favorite soccer book of all time. I guess it's this far in the past. It now counts as a soccer history book. It is This Love Is Not for Cowards. A journalist embeds himself with the fans, the supporters group, if you will, of the team from Ciudad Juarez. And so it is part a sort of first person on the ground experience of what was then certainly the murder capital of the world, as well as how these fans were supporting what was easily the worst team in Liga MX history. And it is fascinating. So if you find supporter culture at all interesting, I think it is required reading. So there you go. Let's just do two more here, and then we'll get the rest of them next go around. Let's save some of the transfer questions for later. Here we go. Sean Pace asks, been following and reading Postcast members' conversations on X, the everything app. It's all happening on X with lovely I support Bayern Munich and want pro rel folks about MLS and its place in U.S. culture, which prompts Sean to ask this. What are moments for each of you that felt like FC Cincinnati was indeed becoming interwoven with the local community? When did FC Cincinnati make it mainstream for you?
I have a weird answer to that question. This was really early on. And just the first time I saw more than one person out and about wearing an FC Cincinnati shirt.
Yeah.
Like walking around. And then you would go to games and like everyone had gear, even in the first season. It wasn't just, hey, we're showing up to watch the soccer team play. It's like, I bought a shirt. I'm all in on this. Like I'm wearing the team colors. And there wasn't a ton of choice. It was, you could buy something from the club and their team store where you had to like have them buzz you in to buy things.
My favorite system ever. It's like a speakeasy team shop.
Yeah, like a speakeasy merch shop. Or you bought a shirt at one of the merch stands that popped up that had a line that wrapped around Nippert Stadium. And then eventually Homage got some gear. But that was sort of this team has made it moment for me, was seeing all those, seeing people in real life, not just people I knew that were other fans, just like walking around wearing stuff for the team.
Yeah. Go to a Cyclones game. One, they're always fun, but two, almost nobody's wearing gear. Like there are diehard fans that absolutely wear it and they make some cool jerseys and stuff. I'm not putting down anybody who enjoys that. I absolutely love that we've borrowed the Cyclones reading of the opposing team's lineup sort of tradition in the Bailey and in the stadium. That's always fun. But I think that's a good one. Chief, mine were very similar. This was with post cameraman Andrew Prentovic. We both recognized these as key moments. One was Mad Tree advertising boards behind the goals in year one, where we got to add the little soccer ad board back there. That was a big moment. And the other one was when I saw my first scalper, I think in year 2, for an FC Cincinnati game. I thought, oh man, scalpers? It might be a real team. Grayson, is there a moment that it hit you that this team may have in fact made it mainstream?
I don't think so. I mean, just kind of generally the first 2 seasons, there was a level of like excitement and interest in it that went beyond, I think, like niche soccer fans. Like I knew people who were season ticket holders within the first couple of seasons who were not even like soccer fans before. And I think that's entirely a testament to two things. One is the low cost and atmosphere that they had at the time, but two, like the level of penetration that they were able to achieve in a short period of time.
Yeah. Is it fair to say FC Cincinnati has reached mainstream in Cincinnati? That's not true in every MLS team. And it is certainly not at the level of the Reds and Bengals. But has it reached mainstream? Has it reached, I would say Xavier basketball is mainstream. It's not the most popular team in the city. UC basketball is just ahead of it, barely, just it's a larger school. But has it reached mainstream?
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, like there's still like a weird like number of or a weird like population group, I guess, that like the team doesn't register to like at all.
Yeah.
But there's a I would say like huge amount of people who like have been to a game, or at least mildly interested in how the team is doing. We'll ask you how they're doing if you're wearing like merch, you know, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, like the one video clip that I always laugh about was they did like a man on the street interview in Columbus one time.
It's a great
one. It was like around a U.S. men's national team game or something like that, and they asked the person if they're excited, and they're like, "Yeah, it's good to finally be able to watch soccer in Columbus," or "I wish we had soccer in Columbus." Like where the team just there was no awareness whatsoever that the Columbus crew.
Yeah, the quote was something like, you know, we don't like, you know, have a professional team here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is somebody that had just attended the game at lower.com field at the time.
Right.
What do you think was going on around you?
Right. Like, I don't think that would ever happen in Cincinnati. I think that like the knowledge of the team's existence is the Q score is off the charts for the team. Now, where the team is like mainstream, like what I would consider to be a mainstream sport is that like when the Reds are good, everyone in town is talking about the Reds.
Yeah.
And like the Reds are like a big topic at work. The Reds are, you know, your family members that don't even care about sports are suddenly like, hey, you want to go out and watch the Reds game right now on TV? Bengals are the same way. When the Bengals are good, everybody's behind the Bengals. I don't think it's that way for FC Cincinnati. Even during their Supporters Shield team, I don't think that they broke through into the, oh man, I don't go to games a lot. I don't follow the team a lot, but I got to watch this. I got to find a place to watch this game because this is a big deal like that. And to be fair, I don't think any MLS teams have that breakout yet. And we're probably a generation or two away from that being a reality.
You know what sucks? And this is a good note to end on. If we had won that game against Columbus in 2023, there's a chance that hosting a title game would have broken through. Would have been like the catalyst in Cincinnati.
I've had this thought before, and this is like an intrusive thought. Maybe we'll discuss this at some point. But if they would have beaten Columbus, and if they would have won MLS Cup, would they have done a parade? And how many people would have shown up for said parade if they did one? Because I don't think that like most MLS teams do like parades like they do when you win like a Super Bowl or you win the World Series or the NBA Finals. But this team hasn't had a championship in what, 1990? The Reds last time?
Yeah.
Would they have felt comfortable doing a parade, or would they have not done it because the risk of we find out there really is only a couple thousand people that would show up for something like this, and it would be better to do something that's more controlled? I don't know. I've thought about this before, and I don't know what the answer would have been.
Well, here's they would have done. I bet they would have done like a rally at like Washington Park or Fountain Square.
Yeah, I think something like that.
I think a celebration at Fountain Square is a given. Do they do a token march from the stadium or from Findlay Market? I don't know. But this is a little off topic, but it was a thought I was like turning over in my head last night. And it was like a alternate history, like what if? And so I think it's pretty well known that when FC Cincinnati was entering MLS, they looked pretty hard and took a run at signing Darlington Nagbe. Yeah.
And there was, and I've even heard Nagbe acknowledge this, that there was a point in time where he thought he was going to play for FC Cincinnati. And then for whatever reason, that didn't happen. I've heard different reasons why it didn't happen. None of them really ring true to me. So I'm not going to go into that. Okay. But the what if is if FC Cincinnati signs Darlington Nagbe in 2019, okay, there's two things that I believe, with all my heart. One is the team does not win a spoon ever.
Okay. Ooh, ever.
Well, since between then and now.
Yeah.
So
none of those
300 years in the future, I'm not holding you to.
Okay. And two is there is no postcast.
Okay.
Why? Because one of us is dead.
Yeah.
I don't think this ever like comes together if it's not for the desperation of the Jaap Stam period.
I agree with that. I also think I'm wearing an Opefest shirt and I have a KLR scarf behind me. A better team might not have broken Jonah's spirits.
Oh, sure.
And KLR would just keep going, and then there'd be no point for us anyway.
Maybe KLR would be the biggest soccer podcast in the country.
So in this alternate timeline, Jonah is hired by MLS and is hosting MLS Sunday Morning.
Jonah's a hooligan.
Yeah.
Jonah is the third cooligan.
He's the third cooligan. I don't think he'd have the patience to work with those guys.
There's honest. No chance. There's no chance at all.
Grayson, you want to know a really sad addition to yours? I don't think the Columbus Crew win either of their MLS Cups in the last couple of years. I think they were very Darlington Nagbe dependent on those
I'd agree
teams.
With that.
I don't think he's on those teams. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a very faint rumor, dare I say reporting, at the time, and it ended up being false, that Caleb Porter was going to become our manager. Would you take that future with Darlington Nagbe if it meant Caleb Porter was a package deal to get Nagbe to Cincy?
Yes. I would have taken it that period of time, yeah.
Definitely taking cups away, at least one cup away from Columbus doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it worthwhile. Like, even if you told me like it doesn't change anything we've done, if it takes something away from them, that would bring me. Well, I wouldn't know it was bringing me joy because I wouldn't know that like.
Well, this is the thing, right?
I would need I would need like a Man in the High Castle film to come from the alternate universe of them lifting the trophy like of the Eastern Conference Finals in 2023 and be like, this must never happen.
Well, that's the thing. Is like maybe our Stam era actually prevented a 10-year Crew dynasty. If we just had to trade this for that, right? Like it doesn't feel good in the moment. But if you had the vision of both the timelines, you'd certainly pick ours.
Well, if we had, so the funny outcome is like, if they did bring in Porter and Nagbe and still somehow finished last the first 3 years, which I don't think would have happened, but let's assume for sake of argument that it did. I would say there's like no chance they end up with Albright and Noonan?
No, they would have gone international for their
They
manager.
would have
if
gone
they would've-
international.
Damn.
And they'd be like what, DC right now?
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they go Mexican, as in like Liga MX, and you look more like San Jose has the last handful of years before Bruce Arena. I don't know.
Well, you
Either
don't
way.
live there. Sad. Fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors, a even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon, but maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.